So do you feel like, I mean, you mentioned the ambition point. I've never really thought about it much, but do you feel like you're kind of, everyone always uses that phrase of like, you're the average of the five people you spend your most time with. Do you
Yeah.
feel like that's about ambition, that like you're really the average of their ambition level? Like if you're around a bunch of people and you come up around a bunch of people who have tremendous ambition, it's hard not to have that same level of ambition and, and spend time with them.
I think it, I think it sets a bar of what things could be. Like if you don't know what excellent food tastes like how do you know what excellence looks like?
Mm.
So I had a chance to be like, hey, I worked around Zuckerberg. I worked around, Mark Pincus and like, Peter Thiel and like the elite. And they're elite for a reason because they're excellent. And then I think there's also some just internal motivation. Like I'm just naturally moving. I'm naturally active. And that's a little bit just I was born with that.
I think people
It's,
want to imitate like the people that, generally speaking, like if you're, I think that's why. Okay, I was reading a study late a few nights ago about how people who have friends who are overweight generally eat more than the average person, um, and then they become overweight. And I think it speaks to this point, which is like you probably grew up with a lot of people who were exceptional or tried to be exceptional, and because of that, like you know, it might just it might have been in you, but it also might have just been,
yeah,
I want to kind of be like that.
manifestation.
Yeah, manifestation of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I
I
think
do
like a
think,
parallel oh sorry. A
no, go ahead.
parallel example of that is like I'm in a text group called like Single Guys in Austin. And it's like all these guys, it's like my three other best friends, and it's always like, dude, I'm on this date. Look at this, check this out. Like it's a safe space for single gentlemen. But then one day I'm like, dude, if I'm just surrounded by these bozos talking about hooking up all the time, like, of course that's why I'm single. And it's not that necessarily being single is a bad thing, but it's just like if you're around a bunch of healthy people, to Greg's point, like you'll probably be more healthy. And I think people probably aren't as intentional as I'm not a brag. I think I'm very intentional about who I surround myself with. And besides these bozo single guys who I love, I'm around a lot of very like intentional people, not just in making money. It's not only about that. It's just like in integrity, in follow through, character, and just like they inspire me in different capacities. And I have it's honestly kind of like amazing. I think that's probably one of the best parts of my life.
it's sort of, it's interesting. Like I have a few thoughts on this. So one is that these kind of things cut both ways. Like I often think about, I have friends who don't make a lot of money, totally fine, they're successful, but don't make a lot of money. And yet they roll in a circle of people who do make a lot of money and who spend a lot of money. And those friends of mine, that roll in that circle then are constantly in trouble and stressed because they basically are like living at the means of somebody who spends a lot and who makes a ton of money when they don't have that. And it's like they've kind of grown accustomed to living in this way by just like, I don't know, like osmosis or something like that. And it creates a lot of issues for them as a result. Because you do kind of like naturally blend into your surroundings for better or for worse. So I've often thought it's just like an interesting fact of humans that we tend to just like chameleon into our surroundings one way or another.
Yeah.